I was determined. I had wanted to learn to play the piano since I was young, but I never took it up. But this was the time. I was 27 years old, and I knew that there were 3-year-olds who could play better, but I wasn't going to let that stop me. There were 3 grand pianos on my campus, and I had my new piano books in hand, and most important of all, I had a piano instructor with a PhD. Her name was Myrna. She was great. Myrna teaching me piano must have felt like Patrick Mahomes coaching Pee Wee football, or Jim Gaffigan explaining to kindergartners how to tell a knock-knock joke. But there I was learning from Myrna every week, playing 30 minutes every day. I remember one song in particular. It was called Highland Song, and I liked it at first. And then I played it for a week, and then another week, and then another week. And by that point, I hated Highland Song. It was the trick that I couldn't master. It was like doing a backflip or baking a souffle or hitting that one note. I just couldn't quite do it. But by the 3rd week, I played it for Myrna, and she had this look on her face, sort of scrunched up as if to say, good try, but no, that's not quite it. And then she pointed at a certain measure on the page. The time signature is different here, she said. My head tilted back, and I groaned. All these past 3 weeks, I'd been practicing my hardest, every day, trying to get this song right. And now, Myrna spotted the one place that I had gone wrong, almost instantly. No matter how long I'd gone on trying to play Highland Song on my own, I wouldn't have mastered it. I needed Myrna to coach me. We all need Myrnas in different places in our lives. But what makes a good Myrna? What makes a good coach? As we finish off this series today, we're going to bring it all together. How good coaches and being coachable are great, but how we also need a coach who can take us beyond what even Myrna can teach us. No matter what age you are or where you are in life, if you want to be learning and growing, that comes from coaching. Now, at this point in your life, you have people all around you that might be considered coaches. You have teachers, tutors, trainers. But someday, you'll finish your education. You'll no longer have a classroom or teachers or athletic fields. And who coaches you then? Most jobs don't have coaches unless you become a professional athlete or a dancer. When you get married and become a parent, there are people with all sorts of advice, but you have to seek it out. Coaches come and coaches go, and while some people, like your parents, might always be there, sometimes you want and you need someone else to be your coach. Well, there's one coach who transcends your entire life. No matter your age, no matter your skills, no matter your job, no matter your schedule, your life situation, Jesus can be your coach. 1 Peter 2:21 says, "For you have been called for this purpose, since Christ also suffered for you, leaving an example for you to follow in his steps." Even though Jesus isn't here physically with us right now, he leaves us an example to follow in his steps. Like Ali said last week, the 3 things that make a great coach are qualifications, experience, and investment. That's the difference between a coach that we can trust and a coach that we question. I think about some of the bad coaches that I've had, and they were all lacking in one of these areas. My calculus teacher in high school, he often tried to solve the problems on the whiteboard, and he would get them wrong. He didn't have the qualifications. My JV soccer coach didn't ever play competitive soccer. He didn't have the experience. And I once had a spiritual director who only wanted to talk about chant music at church. He wasn't invested in me. But Jesus is different. He has the qualifications, the experience, and the investment to be the coach that you need, even if you don't realize it or you haven't until now. And that's okay. But just stick with me here. Jesus lived 2,000 years ago in the Middle East, and yet his life is still one that the world revolves around, because what he did mattered. How he spoke to people, how he taught people, corrected people, how he loved people. Just like 1 Peter says, we should follow in his footsteps. Why? Well, he's qualified. He's God's son. He's a sinner's savior. He's the centerpiece of civilization. He's unparalleled. He's unprecedented. He's the loftiest idea in literature. He's the highest personality in philosophy. He's the supreme problem in higher criticism. He's the fundamental doctrine of true theology. He's the only one qualified to be an all-sufficient Savior. He's also experienced. He supplies strength for the weak. He's available for the tempted and the tried. He sympathizes and he saves. He strengthens and sustains. He guards and he guides. He heals the sick. He's experienced everything that you've experienced as a human being from birth to death. And third, he's invested. He cleanses lepers. He forgives sinners. He discharges debtors. He delivers captives. He defends the feeble. He blesses the young. He serves the unfortunate. He honors the elderly. He rewards the diligent, and he lifts the meek. The Pharisees couldn't stand him, but they found out that they couldn't stop him. Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. Herod couldn't kill him. Death couldn't handle him, and the grave couldn't hold him. You can't outlive him, and you can't live without him. So yeah, Jesus is our ideal coach. Consider this your locker room speech. He's qualified, experienced, and invested in you. He's so invested in you that he left heaven to come down and whisper in your ear, I'm exactly what you need. If you follow me, I'll make life better and make you better at life. I only want the best for you. Follow me. He's so invested in you that he took the instrument of his suffering and death, the cross, and he made it a sign of victory over your sin. The ultimate comeback story belongs to Jesus. He's so invested in you that he couldn't imagine spending eternity without you. He sees you. He sees your sin. He sees your deepest longings, and he knows exactly what you're feeling and thinking. He wants you to know that he's right there with you. So really, the most important question that we can ask ourselves at the end of this series is a question that Jesus asks his followers. Who am I to you? It's the most important question that we will ever be asked. Because whether we like it or not, whether we believe in Jesus or not, the world in many ways still revolves around that question. Who is Jesus to you? Is he your coach or not? Do you believe that he's qualified, experienced, and invested enough to coach you? Matthew 7 says, enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Be the one who finds that narrow road. Jesus will show you the way.